My name's Chris.
And I'm Christy.
This is the Washing Up Podcast, and it's Classic Week.
Oh, classic, bro.
Classic,
Hold on. Oh, classic Gimaco. Remember Effie? She said classic, didn't she?
She did.
There we go.
She did.
Keeping it old school and classic Australian comedy.
It's quite interesting, by the way. We've managed to have Old School Week in Canadian and Classics Week appear like the same time.
Yeah,
it's been
1 week after the other.
It's been really easy for us to do it that way too. So of course this is the Great Australian Bakeoff.
It is,
and this is Classics Week, and it's a week where name classical music. Okay, I was wondering where you're going.
Classics
with that.
Week, not classical. Week.
No, not classical week. No, and not Classic Catches Week. Although yes, welcome back here.
How's that?
Welcome back here to MCG. Players and umpires not quite ready about the North now. And so we're going to look at some classic catches. And the first classic catch we've got is for one Miss Claire Hooper. So
What did they say? What do the umpires say when people catch people out in cricket?
well, they don't tend to say too much. They just put a finger up. Not that not that one. Not that finger. The other finger.
Like, suck shit, bro.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yours.
Fuck off.
You're out.
Oh,
They turned to the batter and just flipped the bird.
Hey, dumbass, you're out. But no, so they don't really tend to say much of anything. The umpires don't really sledge. It's the players' jobs. But, you'd think so. So, Classics Week was...
And to tamper with balls.
I thought Classics Week was interesting this week because it was a good week. It was a really good week.
It was. I'm now craving pasties.
How much of this week, though, outside of the pasties, was actually a classic, though?
Well, flans are classics. Good old flan. Always spoken about in my house, but never had one.
It felt a little bit like Maggie had a technical and really wanted to work it in somewhere, and they went, "There's a bit of flan in there, yeah. There's a bit of custard in there.
It's a flan action.
There's a bit of flan, yeah. There's a bit of custard, yeah. Okay, good. That's a classic. Everyone knows about this one. No, they don't.
I lie. I've had the fruit flan.
Yeah, well, fruit flan, something else like that. That would have been a classic. What Maggie gave them was not a classic.
A spin on a classic.
It wasn't even a spin.
Okay, a full fucking interpretive dance on a classic.
There you go, much better. The interpretive dance on a classic.
Yeah.
And then botanical cakes? Really?
Yeah, they're like the old school wedding cakes, because you could have made a fruit cake with the flowers on top. It's classic wedding cake, unlike ours.
They could have just said...
Oh, no, ours had orange in it.
They could have had a contro in it too.
And it just, the shape of the Bakeoff shed.
Thank you, by the way, Moorish Cakes. So Thank you, Monica, again, one more time.
Check out Moorish Cakes.
Always check out Moorish Cakes. So...
She's doing some videos recently, live Facebooking.
There's been a lot of live work there. So check out all of Monica's stuff, as always. So
I Facebook lived once. Didn't go so well.
I've Facebook live from food markets.
Yeah, you have.
I have. Disappointingly, there were people in the background singing really depressingly Havana. Anyway, moving on.
Yes.
So before we get into the actual episode itself, I do need to raise something that I only noticed tonight. Angela's American apron. It's upside down.
Is it though? Because it's on its side.
No, the Stars and Stripes is on the bottom opposite corner. It's upside down.
Hold on.
The Stars and Stripes on her apron.
Where does the stars sit?
They sit on the top corner.
Yeah.
Right, in the top.
Okay, you're saying top corner, right or left?
All right, so if I'm looking at it, so if it's facing me,
if I'm looking at
it is the top left, okay?
Yeah.
On her apron, it's the bottom right. It's upside down
She's
on the print.
She's blackboarding it. She's really good because she's gone down under, so it's actually the right way up.
It's not.
The stripes need to always be facing the equator, I believe.
As she moves around the kitchen, the apron turns.
It's like Mecca.
The stripes on the Stars and Stripes always face Washington, D.C.
It's one of the things I found hilarious. Okay, so Girl Guide Talk, because we never get tired of that. And I was at an international camp, right, in Ireland. And in Ireland, even though it's the middle of summer, it was pissing down with rain. Although the girls that were in the tent next to us just said, oh, it's a light drizzle, even though it's teeming down. But every time it rained, the American girls had to go and take their flag down because it wasn't allowed to get wet. I'm like, I don't think that's a thing. And they're like, oh, it's disrespecting the flag. I'm like, but
for the flag to get wet.
But the classic symbol of the Star-Spangled Banner being raised in the middle of a battlefield. Like,
say does that Star-Spangled Banner still wave?
yes. Like,
for the land of the free and the home of the keep it dry, please.
But they couldn't just go and take it down. They had to do a full
Ceremony?
flag ceremony.
Flag forward.
I'm like, I really think we're a little over-TT'd.
So, Angela, if you're listening to this, please let us know if you had to do a full flag lowering ceremony, if your apron got dirty in the shed.
Like in The Simpsons, and they fold it up and then they eat it.
Yeah, it's on the Australian embassy, the American embassy in Australia. All right, so the signature in this one. So the signature was 12 pasties.
And not the kind you put on your boobies.
Not those ones. So,
although you could give it a bell, swing those around.
Make some pastry and put them on your nips.
Yes. Every time it swings upwards, just take a bite.
Pastry nibbles, everybody. Pastry nibbles. So, you had 2 hours.
Tasty titty treats.
Tasty titty treats. So you had 2 hours to make 12 different pasties. Now, we talked about last week being vegan week, and on the drinking game, I did talk about there being a response, and my word, wasn't there a response. We opened with Matt Moran simply saying, fat, butter, lard. That's what I'm looking for. Forget a filling. He didn't care about a filling.
No.
He just wanted fat, butter, and lard.
Like any product that you can wring from an animal, whether it's
if you can boil
cream,
if you can boil it down, if you can
render it down,
if you can render it down, if you can
squeeze
milk
it
and squeeze it out of a teat, we don't care as long as it's purely from an animal.
If it's been inside a being with a beating heart,
then it's
good.
Perfectly good. So, how good is butter and lard and fat?
Oh, so good.
Oh, and it was good because we've had a lot of, obviously...
So much lard, Susie Maroney was coming into
Susie Maroney
to prepare for another channel crossing.
Susie Maroney came in and went, look, I'm making a comeback. Can I borrow some of that?
Here we come.
What I appreciated as well was that in previous years, obviously, with Miscellaneous Butter Company sponsoring, hashtag... You ought to be congratulated.
What was the Ripper Reader joke that you told the other day?
Oh, I'll come to that in a minute.
Okay.
I will get there. So,
right.
With all that in mind, though, I like the fact now that they're not necessarily beholden to big butter. They're just in the pocket of big fat. So, as a result of this, what I really enjoyed is now we're getting...
fat activists have been doing our work and doing it
well. And more importantly, we haven't had enough lard talk on Australian television, and it's so nice to see that take off.
You usually get it during like a pie week or a pastry week, when they're doing like a nice deep like suet-based pie.
Yes. So the joke the other night that I was... So the joke from the other night, we were talking about the word yeet. Now the word yeet has to be said to explain to people. It's said when throwing something. So you got to throw it. It's like yeet, and I can get rid of something. And we were talking. I was talking to somebody about the word yeet, and then they were talking about Rita the Yeeter. And so I went to the Eater butter commercials. And so my big thing that I couldn't stop laughing about was a new commercial of Rita the Eater Yeeter, who was walking around picking up Eater butter and then just going yeet and throwing it at people. Walking through a shop, like getting people to taste Eater, but not doing it through like buttering it on bread and go, here, having this, going yeet and throwing it at them. Just Ripper Rita.
Aiming for the trolleys,
Ripper Rita. So yes, Rita the Eater Yeeter. So we didn't see much of Rita the Eater Yeeter, but we really should have. Yeah. So it was a perfect challenge. Now, what I do want to point out is we had butter, and I like the fact they were really conditioning us. Wynn had obviously cut himself very early on, but what I liked was today, forget the blue bandage, his bandage matched the colour of the butter he was cutting.
Excellent. I'm
so
glad
it's
with that.
subliminal. Yeah. We're literally just making everyone go, butter's amazing.
I'd just like to think next week it's just going to be like little fluoro vests everywhere you've like... But yes, a butter-coloured Band-Aid.
Butter-coloured Band-Aid, yeah, that was quite good.
I wonder if you can get ones that are flavoured, although I don't think they want you to be licking the Band-Aid.
I don't think the aim is to lick the wound, Christy. I know that's what they're after. What are you doing? Licking the wound. Delicious wound.
You just have to be putting cones on everyone's necks. Like cones of shame.
So no one can move their head. No. So Sunny was making vegetable samosas. Now, this was interesting. There was potato, pea, raisin, and cashews. Oh. So I'm not trying them.
Look, Sunny, they could be wonderful, but you added peas, son. What?
And raisins.
I'm okay with the raisins.
But a
you
pea
are.
and raisin combo.
But oh my god, peas, right? Okay, are they native to India? Is it a staple? Oh, I guess so, because you got chickpeas.
Yeah, but they're a different thing.
They're a different thing.
The green garden variety pea.
Fuck colonisation.
Yeah,
you know what? Colonisation ruined samosas.
100%. And
fried rice.
The pastry was made with ghee, which was really cool.
Fucking colonisers.
And then Maggie then
all the good things.
So Maggie then pointed out that she's never actually had a good samosa.
And I have to agree.
I've agreed. Josh didn't seem to agree with us on Twitter, but you do you. My big thing is that's normally the natural hiding spot of the pea.
And you can't eat around them in a samosa. In a fried rice, you've got at least a chance to pick them out.
Look, fried rice, you have a sporting chance. In a samosa, no such luck. Because
particularly when they're like flavoured.
That chunk of potato that you've got there,
it's hiding
behind that bit of potato is a bit of a pea. So you've got to get the balance, and you don't know how big the chunk of potato is to get to the pea, to get rid of the pea. And then you've got this weird thing at the end of the night, if you've had a couple of samosas, where you'll have a plate.
Just full of samosa filling.
Partial peas, because you've had a bit of it. No.
And then occasionally you think you'll be, I'm scot-free, I've got no.
No, it doesn't work.
And then I thought I'd got it right, and I bought a meat samosa, and I'm like, it just said meat. And they didn't yeet it at me, because that rhymed.
No.
And I bit into it, fucking peas! Oh. Fuck me. Just can't get away from the little buggers.
So...
fucking little ghoul balls, really.
So what we did get to see though next was Don, and what a week!
Oh,
Don's apron, and I ask you, is he very good? Yes, he is. And in this week, my God, wasn't he good? That fucking pastry. Now, we need to begin with Don open. You knew it was good because Don held up the raw pastry and went, how's that? How's that? Look at the layers. That's the money shot.
It's channeling a bit of Dennis there.
And Don wasn't at the money shot. That pastry from go to woe. My God, that looked good.
Like every bite would be flaky deliciousness.
And he got, as I said, French chestnut pastry. So again, as they pointed out, really comfortable with everything to do with France.
Yep.
Now, if it's got something to do with France, and as he also pointed out, like later on, he also included things like truffle butter. Because, butter's not good enough. Truffle butter's where it's at. And then Matt turned around and tried to go, this is your week, Don, isn't it? And Don was really good. He didn't say it.
Good job, Don.
He kind of worked around it and was like, there's a lot of good bakers in here. We'll see what happens. I really like, my chances, but I don't know. Who knows?
He's learnt no hubris in the shed.
Now, it was a rough puff.
Keep it back.
It was a rough puff, but my God, what a quality rough puff.
Christ almighty.
If he can make a rough puff like that, I really need to learn how to do that.
He really is the pastry king.
He really is.
I am the pastry king. He should have made himself a pastry crown, yes. And a pastry sceptre.
And I did love later on.
And a pastry ball with a little cross on top.
The orb, yes.
The orb.
Orb.
Make me a pair of orbs.
Make me some orbs. And I did love when Don turned around and said, it's me in a nutshell. It's me in a chestnut shell. He was having so much fun this week.
It's so good.
Every time they cut to Don, he had this big smile on his face, and he was just like, I'm nailing this shit. Like I'm nailing this shit. When they cut back to him later on, he's like, if that pastry's doing what I think it's doing, and you're like, oh God, Don, that's so cool. You are just owning this week. It was amazing.
Yep.
What was really fascinating, though, of course, is that everyone then, as they were making their dough, needed to chill it.
Yeah.
Because they've got to let the butter settle in. Except Sunny. Because Sunny is, of course, making samosas. So hers needed to be warmed, not cool.
Wow.
So she's using the proving drawer. Like everyone else is going to the freezer. 10 minutes in the freezer to calm this down. And there's Sunny going, proving drawer.
Yeah.
But again, the bubbles that she ended up getting on those samosas looked really good.
Look, I reckon you redo those samosas with just out the peas and half without raisins for you, and we'd be sweet.
We would be. So Anston. Now, Anston the vegan. Well, let's face it. He's an interesting vegan.
Is he like vegan the way my eldest nephew is a Muslim? Like it's
nominally.
Like, I'm just gonna eat the bacon.
He does,
Have
actually.
the ham and pineapple.
So, but no, well, I mean, look, I'll give Anston a lot of credit. He said, I feel like a pasty needs meat. And he's not wrong.
No.
And as he said, he made a shepherd's pie one with lamb, ham, and chorizo.
Look, if you're going to meat it up as a vegan, I guess you just go all out. She's like, if I'm going to kill one animal, kill them all.
Now, Anston, you had me at chorizo.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. It's not all or nothing with animal slaughter.
No, it's not a zero-sum game. But what I liked, though, was he was true to his veganism insofar as he went, well, I'm going to do this without tasting.
Yeah.
So he went around and got everyone else to taste his stuff, and they showed him giving it to Dan and going, right, what do you reckon this needs? And Dan's like, a little more salt, a bit more pepper. And he goes, was that the lamb? He goes, yep, no, the lamb's seasoned really good. Just a little bit more of both of those. And it was really cool to see, because we talk about how people help each other out all the time. But in this series, having vegans in the shed has kind of added a new dimension to that assistance.
Part of me wonders, though, is that, like, if you just want to get close to Dan's lips, like, it's a good ploy, isn't it? Like, oh, can you just taste my meat for me, Dan?
To be fair, Dan was running a sausage party. So...
and threatening to take his top off.
His words, not ours.
No.
Dan was the one who said, I'm running the sausage party.
Woo!
It was the Boscaiola pasties, which had the Italian sausage, the porcini, and the scamozza cheese. And it was great, because when they came over to do it, and they were showing the mixture... And Matt goes, I was about to ask you, is that going to be far too dry and not watery enough? He goes, but I've seen the scamozza cheese. He goes, no, it's all going to melt together with the pastry and all that. And Maggie started making Maggie noises. And we've had Maggie noises a few times, and we got a few more Maggie noises in this episode too.
Look, I'm sure there are some, like, sound effects people for special movies just hitting record when Maggie is making those noises.
I feel like this series there's been a lot of Maggie noises.
Oh yeah.
I feel like the Brooklyn Nine-Nine soundboard for Holt.
We need the Maggie soundboard.
Yes. I just need it. Anyone want to create a Maggie soundboard? Please go ahead. So Win. Now, Win was the first of two people who decided that they were not going to pre-cook their filling. Now, he was going to let it cook inside. Now, he used short crust pastry.
Yeah.
And they were beef and mushroom with potato and red wine. And he talked about the fact...
It's going to be a beef bourguignon.
Yeah, we talked about the fact that he was going to trim the fat off it as well. And Matt was just...
What?
Matt was incandescent with rage going...
It's like, they denied us animal products last week and you want to take away more from me this week?
Well, he said to him, I'm not going to get to see it. It's not going to brown as much inside there. And he goes, it's not going to brown as much inside there. He goes, it's not going to brown inside there at all.
Yeah.
And Wynn's looking at him and Wynn goes, I hear what you're saying. And Matt just goes, and you're going to ignore it anyway, aren't you? He's like, yeah. I'm confident in what I'm doing. And Wynn, like, I admire the moxie.
Yes.
But as we heard later on, when Angela got some advice later on from Matt and took it, that's what you do. Matt's like, you might want to add some orange zest to that. And Angela's like, I'm not stupid. I want to stay in this competition. I'm going to add some orange zest. And then when Matt
see what happens when you don't.
I know what happens. And Matt later on, when Matt was tasting that one in the showstopper, Matt looked at her and went, "You added the orange zest, didn't you?" And she went, "Yep." Yes, well done. Nice. So see, this is what you got to learn. We're going to play the game. David. Look, man, I love you. I think you're great. I think you're wonderful. I think you're fantastic. Mint lamb with potatoes. Peas.
Yeah, it was like mint, yeah, lamb, yeah, potatoes, yeah, peas, devil's balls.
You didn't need them. But what you needed to do was cook the fucking lamb first. Because again, he went, I'm going to go with this inside and we'll see what happens with this. Oh. And I love this because Maggie turned around and goes, are you feeling confident? And David goes, until 30 seconds ago, yep.
You've got Australia's Lamb King in the shed. Now, it took us all by surprise how deeply invested Matt was in castle building. What wouldn't surprise you is how deeply invested Matt is
in the lamb industry.
If you saw how hard he reacted to Z's sandcastle, imagine how hard he's going to react to a lamb.
Yeah, in terms of not necessarily cooking the lamb to Matt's specifications. I mean, this is Moran lamb we're talking about here. Like, in all likelihood, it's Moran lamb. And And, you know, the man knows his lamb. Be careful. Be careful.
Each one individually. Gives it a name. Still kills it.
Careful, Icarus. Yes, he literally gives them a name and murders them. That's how cutthroat he is.
Yeah.
Literally cutthroat. Anyway.
It's like the old pagan kings, you know. You would be selected as the king and, you know, wined and dined and have the most magical year of your life until it was time to fertilise the soil. Just cut your throat and then bleed out upon the soil. It's kind of like that. I reckon he builds a little wicker lamb.
Not the bees. Not the bees.
And at
The wicker
moment,
lamb.
Gabby is pissing herself laughing.
Wicker lamb. They're around in the paddocks. All the other sheep and joining hooves and chanting and singing.
And just one lamb. Hey ho, who is there? Just looking on the wall.
Matt stands forward with a torch. Oh no. Oh no.
Yes.
This is linking into all my worst fears about being married to a pagan.
And now we have an episode title. The Wicker Lamb.
This is
Don't worry, we only metaphorically sacrifice people now.
yeah, this is where I'm absolutely
That's the wrong
petrified.
time of year here.
I'm petrified. I'm married to a pagan, and at some point I'm going to get trapped in a cage, and it'll be a
You
not the
provide
bees.
me with enough tributes. I'm quite happy.
It'll be a not the bees situation. I know that much. So, well, actually, no, not the bees would have been last week because it was vegan week and you can't use honey. So, Angela. So, speaking of vegans, Angela. So, Maggie gave her a fairly stern talking to tonight.
Oh my.
She started off by doing the whole, you know how last week you bailed yourself out with the showstopper? Yes. And then Maggie basically said the equivalent of, that won't fly again, young lady. What are you doing? It's like, evil Maggie's back.
What the hell?
I could see Angela going, yes, Maggie, no, I know that. What the fuck?
Please don't drag me to your den of doom.
Don't kill me. I don't want to work in the Virtue's fields.
I do not want to meet your
I have an apron. It must always point to Washington, D.C.
torture chamber, Maggie. No, where you'll whisk me till I'm raw.
Don't cover the wound in verjuice. So, she was making Creole pasties. So there were red beans and rice, and a liquid smoke. Now that was interesting. The second she said liquid smoke, before Matt and Maggie said anything, I was a bit worried because I've used liquid smoke before.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously powerful.
It is. I reckon she should have got some oranges, just set them to boil, maybe made up a marmalade, because you know what she would have had then?
It's a long way to go for this joke, but you're going to go for it.
A Creole pasty marmalade. Next one, let's go.
We all saw where this was going, didn't we? And you know what? I don't think we're disappointed. I think we would have been more disappointed if you hadn't gone there, in all honesty. So
Look, I give the people what they want, Chris.
Matt and Maggie were also worried that it would overpower, the liquid smoke would overpower. But then we got...
It's good on baby octopus, though, on the barbecue. Same.
but David then put his in with the exact amount of time needed. He said, I've got 40 minutes left. These will take 40 minutes.
They'll be piping hot by the time they're ready to go.
The problem with that was that, as David had pointed out before, he wasn't pre-cooking the lamb, so you needed to get this exact, and that's not an exact science, so I was fearful at that point. But what we did then like was, because Anson and David had already got theirs in,
Yeah.
they all went over to help Angela finish making her little crocodiles.
Yes.
Which was really awesome.
Alligators?
Again. No, they were crocodiles.
No, they were alligators.
Yeah, but it worked for the Mel Buttle joke to call them crocodiles.
Ah. But then Mel had the perfect line where she could have gone,
See you later.
Ange, we need to go to another bench. You know what I'm going to say to you? See you later, alligator.
She should have said, see you later, crocodile. Oh, shit, no, I got that wrong. Now...
In a while, alligator.
Unfortunately, Angela, when she was checking in the oven, was like, I think they're going to be blonde. We'll find out, but I think they're probably going to be blonde. Now...
They came out singing Happy Birthday, Mr. President. I think
they really were blonde. That's how blonde they were. How blonde were they?
A kiss on the hand, maybe. A continental
But pasties are quite blonde in the oven. No, that's wrong. Now, We had a couple of really interesting Mel and Claire lines tonight. I think Claire's "Bring me those pasties, you basties" was quite, I'll go with ingenious.
I presume that's what Bast worshippers call themselves.
The basties. They all get together, sit around, talking cats.
Yeah. Drawing them on a wall.
And at the end of the challenge, what I really appreciated was Dan was in a great mood. Don was in a wonderful mood. Don's high-fived Dan and then gone, ow, and recoiled in pain as the high five stung him.
It is apparent that Dan has the strength of 10 men.
Clearly. So the judging. Anston, they said the front ones were golden. The seasoning was really good. So Matt said, you've got to have the most loyal friends in the world because that seasoning was great. And Maggie even congratulated him and said, look, I know you didn't taste any of these. So the fact that you've worked on this and you've done this and you weren't going to eat it, but you relied on the others, thank you for that. That's a really cool thing.
Awesome.
Matt absolutely loved the filling. Maggie commented far more on the lard in the pastry. And the lard's in the pastry and the silver spoon. No, anyway. Wynn wasn't as happy with his. He was worried about his cooking time, and they said, sure enough, the meat was a bit blonde. His time management was a bit of an issue. Right. David, they said, everything was absolutely spot on, and his pastry was really good, except he needed to pre-cook the lamb.
Yeah.
So, also, I forgot with Wynn's, she talked about the quality of steak, and it's just like meat, and it's not like a quality piece of steak. And you're like, wow, we're distinguishing between just meat and steak. Meat and steak. Don's, the pastry was stunning, and look, I can't disagree with that.
And Maggie was a bandit for your nuts. Your chest nuts.
She
or
was
chesticles, as we like to call them.
Chesticles, as we in the biz call them. Angela, they said, Maggie loved the alligator shape. Now, the problem is, when Maggie comments and goes, I really love the fact you've tried to make it inventive with the alligator shape, you know that the rest of it's not going to be great. Angela said, it's blonde. Matt then also pointed out that it smelt raw, which is not a phrase you want to hear.
No.
And then they both said that the liquid smoke was a bit too overpowering.
Yeah.
Sunny's were really golden. The pastry looked amazing, and Maggie commented on that. Matt then selflessly threw himself in front of the bullet of the samosas.
Yeah,
so Maggie wouldn't have to suffer.
That's so kind of him.
Exactly. He's a gentleman.
Look, he's just like, Maggie, you're Australia's national treasure. He's like a bodyguard man. And he reaches for the pasty and puts his mouth.
No. But then Maggie had it and loved it and said, you've converted me to these samosas. These are wonderful.
And then Maggie lifts him up and carries him outside of the shed as he's still eating samosas.
Back out to the garden. Back out to the garden with you, Moran.
Yeah, fending off other contestants in the shed trying to get to the samosas.
Previous seasons just coming back.
Yeah. Olivia and Fee just...
Bang!
Antonio, combat crawling.
So the technical...
Marcus dancing his way over
past is kicked in the head. So the technical. Now, this was a Maggie beer technical. Dear God, it was a Maggie beer technical.
I believe I spotted verjuice. I think that little bottle was a verjuice
I think
bottle.
it was too. So don't get scrambled. Candied, not burnt. What's bottom will be top. Cue the gay jokes on Twitter.
Look, it can... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it literally it was a case of cue all of the gay jokes on Twitter.
Yeah.
Everybody sort of...
Looking at you, Josh. Looking at you, Brandon.
Yeah, the two of them really had a field day.
We're not picking on you,
We're literally just pointing out
we're just pointing out that...
You spent the next half an hour...
And it was glorious.
Comparing bottoms and tops.
And we really encourage people to go and look at Brandon Black and at... What's Josh's...
I'll look it up in a minute again.
Okay, we'll just tweet it.
It's not Josh. We'll tweet it later. Okay, so the chocolate hazelnut and orange flan, which is a classic.
I told you it's an interpretive dance on a classic, which is a classic from the 70s, because I'm sure that's where interpretive dance came from. Maybe it's the 30s. They were all bohemian and stuff.
So it's a cake base with a custard top and a caramel sauce over the top. It's 2.5 hours. And I've got to admit, it looks fucking stunning.
Oh my God, that cross section with Maggie had match cut into it. Just wanted to get my tongue and just lick the screen.
And again, this is
the TV.
And this is where Claire had another awesome line where she's done the, when you take it out of the oven, remember you have to whisper quietly to it, I love the Barossa.
I reckon that's what Don did. I reckon Don just...
I think he did.
Just...
I mean, look,
quietly.
and who doesn't? I mean, like wine. Wine. I mean...
W-I-N-E.
And, of course, Stately Beer Manor.
Stunning in Verges Fields. I heard there's been a new addition.
Oh, has there?
A man-made lake filled to the brim with cobram.
Oh, that's amazing.
Cobram olive oil lake.
Cobram Lake.
Yeah, Cobram Lake.
Wow. Is that just off to the south of the Verges Fields?
Yeah, I think you'll find that it was sprung up around the same time as a mysterious den appeared, and possibly Maggie's aqua vehicle might emerge from the lake. Maggie's aqua.
What I did hear about, though,
aquatic vehicle. What?
I did hear that the butter hoard is no longer sponsored.
Yeah, it's just
random butter now. She's just butter hoarding from everywhere.
She can yeet it from everywhere.
She can yeet it from everywhere. It's Maggie the eater. Anyway, so.
And yes, we know eaters are margarine people.
Yeah, we know. We're waiting for it.
It just wasn't funny.
It doesn't work as well if you say it's a butter. Okay,
Yeah.
It just doesn't. So
Details.
somebody will comment. So.
Yeah.
Don points out that a Maggie flan is a flan on steroids, and he's not wrong.
Steroids and probably 6 other illicit substances as well.
Verjuice. I believe the police can check for verjuice now.
Mushrooms.
Yeah, mushrooms. Mushrooms. You know, we're talking about drugs? No, we're talking about actual mushrooms.
Next time on
porcini.
RBT.
Porcini. Sorry. So you've tested for porcini. Get out of the car.
They're in South Australia. The South Australian Police Force pulls someone over. We'd like you to step inside the mobile unit just to try our random verjuice test.
Yes.
RVT.
Random verjuice testing. We will catch you. We will find you.
And we will fine you.
And we will ferment you. Anyway, so Angela tempted fate because she said it seems easier than the other technicals we've had.
Of course, because when you're
Angela.
7 people waiting to go to the end of the show.
Oh, Angela, don't do that.
4 weeks away from the grand finale.
Now they were
Of course
discussing.
it's going to be easier.
Now they were discussing at one point. They were talking about what they mean by "don't get scrambled," and so Claire was sort of saying. So it's, in other words, they literally mean don't make scrambled eggs. When you make the custard, you cook the custard. And Sonny was explaining that you put the custard in and you cook the custard in the liquid. You don't keep it on the heat. You
making sure it's cooking into a custard.
You let it bring it to temperature. Not on the heat. You do it through the other warmth there. And they were talking about it, and Claire goes, so it should be a custardy custard. At which point Mel just went, I've always said that.
Classic Mel.
Oh, it was very much our Mel.
Just walking through a patissier, just going, excuse me.
Is that a custody custard? I don't believe that's a custody custard.
Portuguese tart my ass, that's not a custody custard.
I could see her saying Portuguese tart my ass, that's not a custody custard. It just feels like something you'd hear out of Mel. Portuguese tart my ass. So then we had everyone starting to, let's for want of a better term, they started to play with their nuts. Sonny was the first one. Now Sonny toasted the hazelnuts and then wanted to test them. So she grabbed a hazelnut. And this is where normally they'd grab the hazelnut, they'd taste the hazelnut, and they'd give you a comment on it. Unless you're Sonny. At which point it went on a bit of a magical mystery tour.
Look, obviously Sonny is not a fan of Hamish and Andy, who are always on about testing your temps. You know, they had a whole site dedicated to testing your temps.
So Sonny's gone to take a bite. She's picked it up out of the pan. It's hurt her hand. She's juggled it to the other hand. It's really hot. She's going to put it in her mouth. She's missed her mouth. It's hit her front. It's gone down. It's landed in the sleeve of her shirt. She's put her hands up to try to work out where it is. It's rolled down her arm.
I found it.
And she's like, it's quite hot. It's inside my jumper. It's in my arm. It's on my arm. It's really hot.
What was like 0.3 seconds for us was just
a lifetime
for Sonny.
Sonny is seeing her whole life flash before her eyes. Now, at this point, they pointed out that the trick was not to push the batter into the grooves. So,
you don't want those grooves with batter. You don't want those grooves with batter. Don't push those grooves like batter.
Oh, God. So, while Angela didn't do that, what Angela did, unfortunately for her, was she kind of used the piping bag and actually piped it into the grooves.
She got into the grooves in the pan.
I kind of don't want to say anything else from here because I think I'm just going to cue Christy up as like a jukebox, and I'm worried about this.
What were you going to say? Do it.
No, because I know what the song will be.
No,
okay.
do it.
You ready?
Do it,
okay.
Do it.
People at home, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So Claire and Mel started pressuring Dave while he poured.
Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding.
Ding.
Pressure. Pushing down on Dave.
Down on you from Mel and Claire. I knew where that was going, and it got there. Now, he was trying to pour, and they're there, and they're like sort of chirping him while he's pouring. It was just hilarious.
This is really one of our music-heavy episodes,
well, it wasn't. Christy at the moment is the musical jukebox.
We can now make a Spotify playlist for this episode.
You are the musical mincing machine. So
it really is the Wicker Lamb playlist.
So there was no cooking time on the recipe this week.
Seriously, the episode title has to be Wicker Lamb playlist now. Write that down.
I've got 4 episode titles. This is going to be the longest title ever. So Dan then commented that he was bashing his nuts very finely. Now, what I appreciate about Dan is when he gives you an innuendo too, he gives you the wink.
Because he knows what he's on about.
100%. He knows what he's on about. So did Brandon, so did Josh, by the way. It just went off on Twitter.
Look, if anyone can bash some fine nuts, I'm sure it's Dan.
Now, when they were talking about the candied, having the candied fruit, the candied oranges, and talking about the candying everything, and they were like, you need to make sure that they candy and they don't burn. Cut to Win, who pulls them out and goes, oh no, and they're burning, and he just looks at the camera and goes, I'm sure that's not what they wanted.
Nope.
No, not quite.
Now, candy's burnt.
Then we got
on your bench.
Then we got the turning all the stuff over, so they had to tip it all out of the bundt tin, and that was a problem because nobody wanted to be the person who went first. Because you don't want it to fall apart on you. Now, unlike the other week in a certain other version of Bakeoff and the creme caramels, where everyone turned them over and they just all became puddles, nobody's became a puddle.
It was beautiful.
Everybody's had set. Now, there were differing degrees of where the chocolate cake was. Angela's, for example, was all the way through it, whereas Don's was perfect. So, Wynn looked at his and went, it's worked really well, but then he noticed that it was blonder than everyone else's.
Ew.
Angela's was ultra spotty, as she said, I've had a Dalmatian.
She's had a teenage flan. just get some Roaccutane for it, and she'll be fine.
David's mantra,
Clear it right up.
then David's mantra became all about nuts. He's like, I'm just going to pour nuts all over this.
Look,
I don't know if I need it, but I think more nuts is better than less.
And as we found out later, we found out that Maggie and Matt not big on nuts.
They wanted less nuts, not more nuts.
Less nuts.
So the judging. Wins, they said, was light on colour. The cooking time was a bit of a problem. And Maggie actually said, now normally one of my squares is that Maggie says a bake is not too sweet. Maggie, in this case, said the bake was too sweet. And the custard was too firm. David, they said the colour was great. It was a really smooth custard. The cake was very moist. I knew I was trying to keep going. They said there was a bit too much hazelnut.
Don't include that in the playlist. I don't want any more money going.
No, let's not. So, Sunny.
I'm trying to make up for it. It's now Santana and Rob Thomas doing Smooth.
So they said that Sunny's
just like flan, put it out. Okay,
they said that Sunny's was really heavy in hazelnut, which was not good. Dan's, they said, was really smooth with really good custard. Anston's was beautifully presented, but the cake was really crumbly, which confused them because they were like, it looks perfect, this looks great. They cut it open and they went, what the hell's wrong with the cake? Like, why is the cake doing this? Angela was missing the cake because it was all the way through. As Maggie pointed out, that's because the mould was moved while you were doing it, which meant that the chocolate got into the gaps, which it shouldn't have. And they said that the custard, unfortunately, was very grainy. Don, they said the custard was absolutely fabulous and it was very smooth. So we had Angela last, then Wynn, Sonny, Anston, Dan, David in second, and Don winning the technical. Don having a great week at this point.
And at this point, I'm there on the lounge going, Chris, he has to win Star Baker or I'll literally die. If they announce anyone else at the end, I am just going to get up.
Which worried the hell out of me, knowing, sitting here going, what the hell's going to happen next? Am I going to have someone to do this podcast with? So the showstopper.
My ghost, I just come back.
No, I don't want to
haunt you.
I don't want to do this in ghost format. Not again.
Ooh, I'm the ghost of Christy.
No. So the showstopper was botanical themed. It was a chiffon cake. You had 2 cakes you had to make minimum, and you had 4.5 hours to do it. Botanicals is interesting. There was a bit of a debate going on online about the botanicals. There was a big argument about, well, Botanical Week kind of means everything, really, because you could almost argue that everything's botanical.
Yeah.
So therefore, how do you actually clarify what's a botanical and what's not?
Well, animals aren't a botanical.
Well, that was the comment, was meat was the one thing. Although, again, Brandon Blake, and he's been mentioned a lot on this podcast, so we really enjoy this. Brandon Blake pointed out that, well, meat is technically fed on, grass and stuff, so therefore, technically, it's a botanical.
Process the botanical. And bubblegum, not a botanical.
Not with that attitude. I have been working on a bubblegum tree for years. One of these days.
Look, I figure... Sorry, I'm yawning a lot. Okay, I figure if you can't find it in herbal essence as an ingredient, it can't go into the cake.
So what you're saying is basically what they needed to do was basically just pour out some herbal essences into a pan. Yes. And then have a woman with a really badly dubbed voiceover come in. Talk about how shiny the cake was. Yes. My cake is shine and bounce. So Angela actually commented that she thinks the showstoppers are the best bakes. I don't know. What do you reckon? Big call. I always like the technical. I'm a big fan of the technical. So, I know quite often it doesn't matter. Yeah. But I'm a big fan of it. I love the signature, just seeing people... same kind of theme, riffing on it, but it's not necessarily like something big and like, look at me, I'm a signature. My concern with the showstopper... more like, look at me, I'm a signature, refined and beautiful. My concern with the showstopper a lot of the time my deliciousness. My problem with the showstopper a lot of the time for me is that it sometimes gets built up, it's got to be huge. Yeah. And it can lose something... It's gonna be huge. There's another one for the playlist. It can lose something in the scale... and the scale can get too great, and that's one of my things. Most of the time, the showstoppers are great, but occasionally the scale can lose the plot. Like the other day, the other day in Canadian where they did the slab cakes, and the problem was that it was just big. I'm sure they had to get extra ovens in. Just knock out. Gonna have to knock out a wall in this oven. 100%. It was just like when we first went to Costco and ever bought the Costco pizzas. They didn't fit in the oven. We actually had to cut it in half to make it cook. Dan's was a Nature in the City botanical. Lemon and Earl Grey on the bottom. With lavender buttercream, and the top cake was orange and rose water with rose buttercream. Yep, you could have that in a herbal essence. You could 100%. Now, Earl Grey tea reminds me of, we went out with a group of my friends a few years ago now. We went out for dinner, and afterwards we're getting coffees and whatever, and one of my friends wanted tea, and they said, what tea do you want? And he said, Earl Grey, and he goes, what? He goes, Earl Grey. He's like, what do you mean? He goes, Earl Grey, and he goes, I don't think we've got that. He's like, you don't have Earl Grey tea. He's like, I'll go check with the kitchen. He comes back and he goes, no, we don't have Earl Grey. And he goes, what? He goes, we don't have Earl Grey. He goes, no, Earl Grey, not Earl Grey. I'd like to see that though. It's a Mexican tea. This guy had been asking for Earl Grey tea, and he's like, oh, it was like the time I went to the bottle shop for my crispy skin duck. I went and bought some sake, and I said, you got any sake? And he goes, oh, is that new? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, 100%, brand new. 1,000-year-old new. He goes, what brand is that? And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Japanese brand. Yeah. Probably made by Mitsubishi. So
or Mazda.
speaking of Japan though, Don. Oh. Okay, so Don, we need to have a chat.
He's the Don of Japan.
Don,
you know?
it looked amazing. Don, I loved the concept. Don, Sakura cherry blossom cake. Yep, wonderful, fantastic, amazing, incredible design.
Wow.
What a cake. One question.
Shh, don't spoil this, Chris.
Why did you
No, Chris, you're spoiling a moment.
use
Be selfless.
matcha?
Chris, you could have been selfless and just let us have this moment.
He's had enough fucking moments tonight. He
Fuck
used
you.
matcha.
No, don't listen to him. And when Matt was saying it needs a little bit of citrusy zest, I've gone yuzu. This one here, nearly lost his shit. Jesus, like I've gone, look, I'm just going to go and take a dump on your bed.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that where I sleep.
Makes you think one could do it and two, actually pull it off without getting all over myself. I am graceful is not a word that what applies to moi.
So Sonny made a bay leaf cake with buttercream and candied kumquats, which I really enjoyed, not for the bay leaf. I enjoyed it because we haven't had kumquats this season. It's about bloody time.
So no matcha, no yuzu, but kumquats ahoy.
Well, there needs to be a kumquat at least once a series. Fennel was the other one with buttercream and candied lemon, so it's good to see Sonny going with the traditional theme of bay leaf and fennel.
Yep, works perfectly.
Matt Moran, thoroughly confused. Matt Moran's like, okay, so never had a bay leaf cake before.
Still see it in a herbal essence shampoo. So
It is true. Now,
or a palmolive botanical.
We're really going deep now. Palmolive botanicals. So
Put that in a hand wash.
can it? Will it hand wash? It's the new test. The new test is will it hand wash? So
It's a botanical.
So David. Now David brought forth juniper berries. Of course, he brought forth juniper berries. They came from juniper bushes. What do you expect? So they were a gift from God, and they were indeed all they bloody had to eat. So what I really loved was when they come over and they're talking about juniper and the taste of juniper, and Mel's like, it seems familiar, and Maggie turns around her and goes, have you ever had gin? And she's like, that's where I know it from.
Yep.
And at this point, everyone suddenly realised they were getting a cake that was going to taste like gin.
But you know, it's great. You leave that cake for a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
Just let it ferment away.
Oh, wow. And then blend it.
Put some Pims with it.
Oh, wow.
Bit of strawberries and mint.
Pim's Refresher.
Yeah, away you
Pim's
go.
Refresher cake. It was juniper berry sponge with vanilla buttercream and an orange blossom cake with cardamom cream. Now, later on, when everyone started putting the supports in their cakes, David decided he didn't need it. Now, when we got to the judging, David's cake was...
Wah, wah.
It was leaning quite heavily. It was boldly hanging on for dear life, but it was quite tilted when they went, oh, this is a bit of a problem. And Christy went, but why can't they do the pull out? And it was tilted, and she went, oh, yeah, no, I see that.
Because I'm like, oh, it's so pretty. I like the decorations because they were different. They weren't that kind of like pretty kind of flirty florals and stuff. It was just kind of like it's a tree, fucking leaves on it.
And you're like, but that looks really good. And then they pulled back and showed the tilt. She's like,
there's your problem.
okay, that's the problem. It's collapsing. And he did talk about, during his bake, he did talk about the idea of, like, polyfiller. So maybe he should have put some polyfiller in there, just saying.
Yeah, just pop down to Bunnings, grab some,
like,
what do you got in your Shelley's range?
Warehouse, we'll make it cake grouse. Anyway, I'm not putting the Bunnings one on the playlist.
I was about to say, can we get that on?
No. Angela was making an English garden. Rose.
What do you do
I knew
when
that
you
was
can't
coming.
find a
Oh no, we're moving on. So Rose, orange blossom. No.
Okay.
Rose, orange blossom, and lavender with matching icing for all of those tiers. And what I really appreciated about Angela's was she made her own natural flavourings too.
That was fucking kick-ass.
And look, Maggie was really enjoying that.
Yeah.
Like, Maggie Beer was like, that's really cool,
She's
really
like,
clever.
You could totally, furnish a friggin' shampoo with this stuff.
And they were talking about the flavouring, and that was where Matt went, you might want to add some orange zest. And Angela's gone, I'm hearing what you're saying, and didn't follow it up with the, but I'm not doing it. Followed it up with a,
I'm going to do it.
I'm putting orange rind in there. Isn't this clever?
Yes.
Wynn made a lemon chiffon with blackberry curd and the ombre elderflower icing and a wafer paper flour.
And that blackberry curd really got to the Matt Moran, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, and the ombre elderflower icing really got to the Christie.
Oh, I'm a bandit for elderflower. Love it.
You are very much a bandit.
Yes.
So Anston made lavender and mandarin as one, and then rosewater with fresh strawberries in the other one. Yep. And then we started, and again, it's always weird when you watch people putting dowel inside a cake.
It is. I'm like, but you don't want...
But that limits the amount of cutting.
Is this part of the botanicals? You need a woody aftertaste?
It limits the amount of cutting you can do, and I think that's a bit of a problem. So we then saw everyone also starting to create flowers.
Flowers, dripping by the K.
Now, if anyone knows...
Red, yellow, and pink.
If anyone notices...
That's a Keith Urban song. See if you can find that to put on the playlist.
So if anyone knows about making these flowers, it is you.
Yes. So thank you to the gorgeous man that is Mr. Robert Harwood. I do some polyclay occasionally, and he does like cake decorating on more occasions. And
on more occasions.
Quite a lot more occasions. And he
wins prizes.
Prizes. What's going to be? Probably first. He's like, Christy, I'll show you how to make a rose. I'm like, sweet, because I wanted to make an incense holder that was in the shape of a rose. And he's like, yeah, cool. Okay, so by Skype, we're just there, rosing away. And I saw the ball tool tonight. I'm like, I can do that. I know how to use a ball. And you know what? If you wanted to use a ball tool like that, I reckon there is something that you can do. And here tonight, I have all the way from the Sacred Isle of the Lambs, the head druid lamb from the Moran lamb. Hello, I am the head druid lamb, and I welcome you to this blessed occasion where I am here to talk about a quality magazine focused on cake decorating and sugar art. It's Australian Sugarcraft magazine, and it's for you. It's a full-colour digital magazine with step-by-step tutorials, recipes, tips and ideas. Subscription is an annual cost of $19.90 Australian, and you receive 2 issues per year. Go to facebook.com/Australian Sugarcraft for more information. Now I must go, for the reckoning is near. The harvest must come. The harvest must come. The harvest must come. That was wonderful, wasn't it?
How am I supposed to follow that?
I don't know.
Like, you bring in these special guests.
I know.
And I have to follow this.
Head druid lamb. Wouldn't expect that, would you?
That's pulling power.
Yeah.
Now, we do have to mention that
like
Dan's last flourish was blowing gold dust. And that's not a euphemism. Actually, gold dust everywhere. It just
so much gold dust. Fucking Fleetwood Mac showed up to start performing.
Stevie Nicks was like, "You summoned.
You summoned me.
You summoned me.
Gold dust." She almost sounds like a Moran Lamb druid.
They're close. They're really close. I've never noticed that before. Wow, it's scary now. So
proof she is a witch.
And then everyone went over and admired Wynn's piping as well. I was like, "Oh my god, that is amazing." That ombre.
Oh my god.
And Angela was just like, and you could almost hear in Angela's when she looked at it. It was admiration and oh fuck, I'm dead.
Yeah.
It was both at once.
This perfection is sending me home.
Yes, exactly. So, the judging. Sunny. Now, Maggie made what I refer to as Maggie noises as Sunny brought it up. Like, she's bringing it up, she's like, oh. And then...
She sounds like a ghost.
I know, it's weird. So Maggie thought that the bay leaf was very subtle. Matt absolutely loved it. Matt was like, I actually really like the balance of the bay leaf, and I've decided I like that.
Yep.
Anston... Maggie commented that she would have worn it to a royal wedding as a hat.
Yeah.
Now, again, that also gives you a bit of a reminder about when this was filmed, because, of course, that was a current reference when that was filmed. The cake was very light. Matt thought there was a bit too much buttercream. Maggie agrees that it needed more strawberry to balance out the cream.
Yeah.
David, they said the decoration lacked a little. Christy disagreed. Matt looked, it's unusual. It tastes like gin. And Maggie goes, but I love that. And everyone in Australia went, no fucking duh. Of course you like that. By the way, we'll get to the game card in a minute, but that counts as booze in a bake. Dan, they said it was full on, to which he went, I like things over the top. And Maggie looks at him and goes, really?
Sarcasm
from Maggie Beer. What the fuck have Claire and Mel, what have you been teaching her?
That's who's created. They've created a monster. Evil Maggie Beer.
It all goes back to the popped up and happy to see you.
Oh, it's okay. The evil Maggie Beer. You know when they did like the Joker's origin stories. The evil Maggie Beer origin story is going to start with the popped up and happy to see you.
And she sat back and thought about what it meant.
Yeah.
So they said that Maggie said that the Earl Grey would have been better as a powder, but she really liked it.
Yeah. Just wanted to do lines of Earl Grey. You know?
Yeah, pretty much. Evil Maggie loves doing lines of Earl Grey.
Oh, she's just banned it for it in the Den of Doom.
Occasionally cuts it with a Russian caravan. Now they said it was an elegant cake for a tall man, and that seemed like a weird comment.
Just gonna go to a nearest T2 dealer.
Oh my god, it's beer, man, it's beer.
Cool.
How's the leaf? How's the leaf? It's under, man, it's under. No, it's cool. It's cool. No, man, the leaf is under. The beer will get us. So I said it was an elegant cake for wins for a tall man. Sure, that's a thing.
Apparently tall men can't be elegant. You know, who was the last tall man in that shed?
Yeah, I know.
We all saw Robert.
Wynn is taller than him, though. Maggie, although, and you know, I've seen Robert in crowds before, and he stands out.
Except, you guys said, come and meet us in Chinatown. You won't miss us. It'll be a 6 foot tall redhead. And it's Chinatown in Miscellaneous City. And I'm like, of course, he will be the only 6 foot tall redhead. Guess what? Not the only 6 foot tall redhead in Chinatown.
Yeah, but was he the other one with a 5'7.5" redhead?
No, it wasn't.
Exactly. The half's important. Anyway, Matt kept eating the blackberry on wins because it was really refreshing. Maggie just kept on going back and sampling more of the cake. Like I need to try that again.
More of this.
Angela, they said it was a lot of work quite clearly, and Maggie absolutely thought the natural flavours just sung through it. They said you could taste the freshness and that she'd done very well. Don. The presentation was beautiful. Matt loved the buttercream and the decorative contrast between that, the way he had that perfect crisp white buttercream and then the rest of the decorations around it. Maggie sort of felt the cake as he cut it. So Maggie sort of felt the cake on the way past because Matt's like, feel that, Maggie. And she got all teenager sort of fangirly, which was incredible. Like most people get fangirly over like musical acts or things like that. Maggie's there over a cake going, oh my God, the texture.
When you see people see Maggie B, that's how Maggie B reacted to that cake.
Yeah, Maggie reacts to cake the way that the rest of us react to Maggie.
Yes.
They loved the lightness of the cake, and Maggie thought there should be some lemon in the matcha, but she loved it anyway. Christy said yuzu. I nearly didn't talk to her. At this point, Don was clearly the star baker.
Oh, absolutely.
And what a week. What a week. Well done, Don. That is an outstanding week that you've had, and it's been a bit coming. And they said it was a big turnaround, and it was, and well done. Now, the decision to not send anybody home.
Happy with it.
Absolutely perfect. We knew they had to do it, right? Yep. They had to do it to balance the weeks. So it was always coming. Mm-hmm. Now, they did a justification thing where Matt went, well, they both pulled out an amazing showstopper, which they did.
Yeah.
And so we couldn't really justify sending anyone home, and that's why they're both staying.
And they had the grace to be able to do that.
Yeah, the subtext to it is, we have a free week up our sleeves where we don't have to send someone home.
Let's use it now.
Let's use it. So they've burned it.
Which is fairer because you don't want that shit happening further down the track.
You don't want the semi-final week to suddenly be, and we all go through.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really work.
No.
So you needed to do it probably this week or next. So it's fair they did it this week, especially since they had a really good bake.
Yeah.
Now, before we finish up, I did just want to give a bit of a shout out. I had a bit of a listen the other day to Claire Hooper's Pineapple Project.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Absolutely brilliant, because it's all about cleaning up and tidying up. It's the condoing of the podcast world. So
I'm pretty sure, Marie, there are heaps of actual condo.
yeah, but I mean,
But it's Claire Hooper
do
doing
any
it.
do any of them feature our Claire, and secondly, talk about cleaning up your garage, which we kind of need to do.
Oh my God. Okay, so last week when like insane winds hit miscellaneous city and like, fuck me, they were severe. Like it was what, 4 a.m?
It was 70 to 90 kilometres an hour.
Oh my God. And all I kept thinking, because we used to have this huge big gum tree at the front, I'm like, oh my God, it's going to come crashing down the house. Then I remember we adulted this year and actually got it removed. And then I was able to go, all right, and go back to sleep now. But someone else couldn't because you had insane cats bugging you.
Yeah, I copped the cats, and then when we got up, the garage door had blown in.
Yep.
And so what we could have probably done with there was like a clean garage, not as messy. And so like I was listening the other day to Pineapple Project just because I was looking for something, and I'm like, oh, there's Claire. Listen to it, and I'm like, actually, this is really good. So, massive shout out to that. It's a really good listen. I do highly recommend. It's an ABC podcast too. So
exactly.
Supporting the national broadcaster.
Our auntie.
We're supporting Auntie.
Yep.
And yeah, just give it a listen. It's a really, really good listen.
And thank you, Claire, for inspiring my husband to clean up the garage before the builders get here to repair it all.
Yes, exactly. I've now got a busy weekend ahead of me. So thank you for that. So
Charles.
It's been it was a really good week. And before we finish up, I do need to quickly run through the drinking game. Because I do need to run through what we hit and what we didn't hit. Judges talk up butter the whole night.
Well, butter.
It barely stopped. I remember this as a child. Sunny gets that one.
Yep.
She did. The hosts comfort a baker. No, they distracted them. Bad luck. We swapped it out this week. A baker says that a bake is outside their comfort zone. Didn't really see that one.
No.
Maggie says she's not a fan of an ingredient or a bake. She wasn't a fan of samosas.
No.
Not at all. Wasn't a fan of liquid smoke. Tick. All right. A baker ignores advice from the judges. Tick.
Drink.
So, booze in a bake. I'm giving it to us on the background of the juniper.
Yep.
I'm going with that. Matcha, look, it's speaks for itself, really. Baker stares at the oven. Ange did that. Tick. So
laser beams.
There was lots of ticks on there, and I apologise to your livers in, just...
But the kickbacks from the alcohol industry are getting.
I'm so pleased to be getting kickbacks on every six-pack. Kickback on a six-pack. So that's your lot for this week. Now, we will be back...
Booze for comment.
Pretty much. We will be back in the next couple of days to do Canadian Bakeoff, obviously. We're getting to the crunchy end of the season there.
Oh, it is.
It's semi-foil.
It is. It's we're approaching the tier of the wedding cake, the top tier.
We are approaching the top tier of the wedding cake. Let's hope there's no matcha inside. So that will be coming up in the next few days. We're also going to have probably an interview coming up within the next week or so. It's a bit of a busy week coming up, so the schedule will be a bit out. But after the next week or
it's
so...
like Pagan Christmas. Well, no, Pagan Christmas is technically Yule, which has already been in the Southern Hemisphere. It's a different pagan celebration.
But anyway. But so there's that coming up, and then I've got a few things coming up later in the week. So it'll be... You'll still get the normal podcast. The interviews might slow down a little bit, but then they will go into warp drive. So you are going to get a lot of those, so don't panic if you miss out.
I will hit engage.
We will do... We've got a lot of things coming up. There's a lot of things that we're again, like Wallace and Gromit, the tracks are being built while the train is running along the tracks. So until... next episode, I'm still Chris.
And I'm still Christy.
We'll catch you all then.
No, not the bees.